Yeah.
Yeah, no, wow.
Local Biz Now. If it's Monday afternoon, say it, say it, say it, say it.
Yeah. Your biz matters.
We got to work on it. You got a couple more weeks. I tell people all the time, that's why we let you do the co-host for an entire month, because it takes you a month to figure it out.
He has that Wolfman Jack thing going for him, but he's too young to understand who that is.
That's right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. I'm here with Michael Clegg. He's the CEO and managing partner of Q Works Group. And Michael, I'm sure you and I can agree that we are here with the future of our small business, Austin Helms. I'm sure when we hear him, it reminds you of things you and I went through over the years.
Absolutely. Quite impressive.
One of the things is he had mentioned, I saw on your website, which was you wrote an article or have a talk on my biggest mistake.
Right.
Which sounded like it was similar to his mistake.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Because he'll find this kind of interesting. It's almost like business never changes, people never change, right?
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that Austin was talking about, the customer is always right. And I think really I translate that as to find what the need is and fix that, right? And my biggest mistake was really about being liked more than respected. And now I'm talking internally, not externally. And that was one of the reasons, as I look through my journey in leadership, I've been a leader for the better part of 20 years now, and opening and founding Leadership Squared, which is a leadership development company, because there are so many organizations that are really suffering from poor leadership. And it's a buzzword now to talk about leadership and culture and all these great things, but very few people are doing it well. And one of the reasons why is we are still, and this is not just a small business, this is all business at this point, are still hiring for skills and firing on behaviors. But yet we don't measure behaviors on the front end at any level that I would deem acceptable to understand if someone's going to be a cultural fit inside of your organization. And, my biggest mistake was absolutely worrying so much less about the business and more about the people, which isn't a bad thing on the surface. But there's also a big difference of being nice and being kind. Being nice is not telling someone something that might be hurtful to them that would actually benefit them. Being kind is actually letting them know now, because when you're nice and you don't give someone feedback, that ultimately comes to show itself down the road.
Do you use any tools like in your current business? Like which tools do you use for hiring?
Yeah, I use a tool called PDP, which it's a behavioral assessment. They call it a behavioral survey. I wish this company, they're based out of Colorado Springs. I wish they would market, but ironically, they're a group of it's a family business. They're a group of mathematicians that put this program together back in the 70s, and they do zero marketing on it. Zero. Now they continue to put money into the tool. It's a phenomenal tool, and I've been certified in a lot, DISC and predictive index and cultural. I'm drawing a blank on this CGI. But anyhow, I've been using PDP for about 7 years because it is behavioral based. There's no right or wrong. You're not getting labeled, "Hey, Joe, you're a whatever it may be" label. It is strictly on behaviors. And the thing that I help people in the coaching aspect of it is about raising their level of self-awareness. There was a study of about 5,000 plus leaders, and the question was, how many of you have high self-awareness? And 95% said that they did. The study resulted in only 12 to 15%.
That's right.
The reason for that, though, is because they're not asking for feedback. And there's a different way to
And
ask
they won't
for
even
feedback.
accept the
They
feedback
don't
when
listen
it
when they
comes.
do get it. But there's a different way to ask for feedback, because if you're working with someone in your organization that reports to you, there's still that separation, regardless how great a relationship. You're still the boss; they're the employee. So our job is to really minimize that gap, and the only way to do that is really truly by developing a deeper relationship and by having tough conversations, because so many employees are waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Okay,
so to speak.
well, let's back up.
Sure.
So how does Austin, we'll use Austin as an experiment, okay?
Yep.
So how does Austin make his staff members or whomever it is he wants to talk with, right? I'm sure you've got directors in each one of your states, right? How does he make them comfortable enough to tell them what he needs to hear
Yeah.
because they probably know he doesn't want to hear it.
That's right. He's the last one to know usually.
How does he do that? How does he set the stage so that the information will come to him? Because if you just call them, they're going to tiptoe around it. They don't. It's a Friday
Austin,
afternoon.
You're great.
Yeah, you're great, Austin.
We have Taco Tuesday. We love that you do that.
So how does he do that?
Yeah, no, great question, Joe. So once again, I think as an organization or as a leadership team, there are 4 steps to connection. There's having one-on-ones, skip level meetings, what we call breaking bread, which is a casual, kind of what we would call a water cooler conversation.
Right.
And then there's something called a stay interview. But most people, when we ask for feedback, I would say, let's say Austin reported me. I say, hey, Austin, tell me how I did. Give me some feedback on that. That's very different than if I said, Austin, I'm really looking for your advice here. Just listen to the difference in the question itself. When you ask for feedback, you're going to get that, what I call the crap sandwich. You're going to hear something good, the issue, which is only going to be half the issue, and then you're going to get something good again. When you ask for advice, people are genuinely, it drops their guard. They look at you and go, okay, this guy's really looking for my advice. And when you do that, that changes the paradigm. But going back to the 4 steps of connection, if you don't do those, if you don't have those 4 steps, first off, you have to have regular one-on-ones with the people that are your direct reports. They want to talk to you, right? Even when they do something bad, they want feedback. They want to know where they are because, once again, most people have been taught just because of previous bad leaders that the next shoe's about to drop.
So, 2 things.
Yeah.
First of all, he said something which is interesting, which is if I simply ask, how'd I do, I'm going to get a sandwich, right?
Yep.
Good, bad, good, right? That's interesting. I didn't know that, okay? Yep. I can't wait till Joe asks me how he did, and I can give him a sandwich. Anyways, but the other thing you said, which was really interesting, you were suggesting that the best way to gather information is to have a planned time that if I work for Austin, I'm going to get a chance to talk with him.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that. In other words, a guy like me, it almost like, oh, are you kidding me? I got to talk to him again. You know what I mean? But you're saying they really want to.
Absolutely.
They want that planned moment that, and I'm going to take notes so that when he calls me at 9:00, I'm ready to go over the 5 or 6 things. Yeah. Did you know that, Austin? I did not know that.
I think it depends on the manager too, because it's like me and you're probably similar. Like if you ask me how you're doing, I'm just gonna if you're so I know color code and culture index. So if they're a blue and they're really tied into feelings and emotion, and I am not, and you say how I'm doing, I'm like, well, it didn't look like you did that great at that thing because it didn't result these numbers, and I just walk away. This person is devastated.
Right.
Versus, hey, can I schedule a time? Yeah, let's get it on the calendar. Boom. Okay. And I'm going to give somebody 10 minutes and boom, 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 boom. But then if I'm a blue and a blue, so heavy emotion, I'm going to have that full. So I think to me, it all depends on who the manager is.
Well,
and
but what he's saying is whether you're blue or red or whatever determines how the conversation goes. But the timing and scheduling is absolute.
100%.
That's what's interesting
it's the regular
to me,
intervals of these meetings that is the most important. And whether it's weekly in smaller organizations, that's entirely acceptable. But no less than monthly, you should be spending time with your direct reports. Truly, in every organization. That I don't care, green, blue. Yellow,
that's
red.
5 hours a month gone for you, buddy. You got 5 cities. That's 5 directors. Let me make sure I'm understanding you.
Yeah.
So if he's got 5 areas, right? He needs to put aside 5 hours a month to talk to those directors a specific time every month.
I'll even take it a step further. It is the most important 5 hours that you'll have.
I didn't know that. That's an interesting thought process.
Yeah. Well, the reason for that is that we always say that the customer's first. No, that's wrong. Your internal people should be first, because if you're taking care of the people internally, your external customers are going to be taken care of. That's the problem we have right now, is that the engagement levels in organizations is like 26%. So if you really look at this, I think of a rowboat. Let's say you got 10 people on it, right? You got 2 people who are rowing in the direction. They're happy. They love working for Austin. You got 6 people who, now the positive or the buzzword is called quiet quitting. Those people, they're sitting in the middle of the rowboat. They don't even have their oars in the water. They're not even rowing. Then you have two people at the other end of the boat that are actively sabotaging. Those are your what I call the BCDers.
Cancers.
Those are the people that are blaming, complaining, and being very defensive.
So Clegg, see how I just pulled him in? You know, he's like my bro now. So Clegg, here's my question. So Austin does the 5 director meetings. I'm making up a name, directors. I don't know what they are, right? You know what I mean? JoJo's in there laughing at me. Joe, stop laughing. I'm trying to do business here. Okay. Does his directors now have to spend an hour a month with their direct
100%.
line people?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so that's the training and
otherwise
and the
there's such a lack of clarity if you don't otherwise.
Culture.
People,
that was trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. And in the 101, there's a 60-30-10. 60% is about performance. 30% is about career development. People want to know where they're going.
Okay, we got to take a break.
Okay.
And Austin's got to do Your Business Matters again correctly.
I love it.
Okay. But when we come back, the problem that you just mentioned, people like Austin and I, we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't like the structure. Yeah. We don't want the structure. We're doing what we do because we don't want this structure, right. But I have to give it to the employees.
That's right.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about that, okay?
Sounds good.
This is Monday afternoon, and if it is...
Your Business Matters.
Yeah, there you go. We got it. We'll be right back.
That's awesome. That was pretty good. I got to give you this.
Dream job is to
we'll
be
return
like
to
high
Local
school,
Biz Now.
starting at guard, whatever you call it, PA announcer.
Yeah.
That's all I wanna do.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy who does it for. He's a
Thank you, JoJo.
10th grade teacher at.
Oh, I completely forgot.
Audrey
I was going to do
Hill?
burners and forgot.
But he does the
completely
soccer and
forgot.
football games.
I was ready.
That's
His
awesome.
voice is amazing. That.
Whoops.
Yeah.
That's
That's
all
so
right.
cool.
You got,
Whoops.
you got the final segment.
Okay.
And if I don't hear it, I'll remind you.
Okay.
Somehow.
Do people call into the show?
So what they do Facebook. They don't call in.
Oh.
They do. For example, the primary host of all of WSIC, the #1 dude, is Patrick Reynolds. Mm-hmm. He's listening right now, and he wants to give you some advice on how to say your business matters. And he says right here, put a period at the end of every word.
All right, got it.
Your business matters. So Patrick just gave you a little bit
got
of
it.
advice if you choose to take it. You
I like it.
Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate that advice.
That's fantastic.
You know how that started years ago. I've been telling people I'm 11-year amateur at this, right? I really don't know what I'm doing. Whatever they tell me, that's what I end up doing. I'll complain about it, but I do whatever they say, right?
Yeah.
And so years ago, we're at the old radio station. This old radio station, I mean, it literally it's 80-something-year-old history in this radio. It is like the oldest radio station in North Carolina. Wow. And I'm feeling this, and there's two different. I have a co-host. I've got two different guests, and they're all talking at the same time, and they're asking me questions, right? And then the radio automatically, the guy says, "Go," right?
Yeah.
And then I'm looking, I don't know what to say, and I'm like, "Your business matters." And when it was over with, everybody laughed at me, right? And it just stuck. So
yeah.
I kept saying it, and
great.
11 years later, now it's a tagline.
Yeah, that's great.
I tell people I'm a genius.
It's not business.
Business.
Business. Business. B-I-D.
That's right.
All right.
See, even I know.
Got it.
Business.
All right, guys, we got about.
We ready to do this?
About 20 seconds.
Okay. Patrick's going to critique you now, Austin.
Do I do it at
That's
the
what I'm
beginning? I
warning
can't
you.
remember.
Say what?
Is it beginning and the end?
I'm sorry.
It's at the beginning and the end.
Oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Now more Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah, #1 live talk business radio show in North Carolina. We are prepping our next host to be skilled at this. So let's practice this. This is Local Biz Now. If it's Monday afternoon,
Your Business matter.
There we go.
There we go. We got that.
I do think he had a Z in business, not a D. I think it's business, right? What I said.
Just so you know, for those of you that are on Facebook and also live on the radio, Patrick Reynolds, who listens to the show, sent me some instructions to make sure Austin did that correctly. So that's why we wanted to do that correctly. Now, Austin, you're gonna have one more time to do that correctly at the end of the show, and we'll get Patrick to critique that and see if you got that right or not.
He's going to come in and tackle me like a linebacker.
The person we're picking on is Austin Helms. He's the founder and partner of New Blue Services. Austin, thank you, buddy, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us pick on you. Michael Clegg is here. He's the CEO and managing partner of Q Works Group. He also has a leadership coaching company called Leadership Square. So, Michael, I told you that Austin and I don't want the structure. We don't want your formality. We don't want to have to do that every month. And you're saying, sorry, buddy, if you're going to own a small business and keep a good culture, it's just something you got to do.
That's true. 100%.
Doesn't that make you sick, Austin?
Well, so there's alternatives too. So you could put someone in charge, right? If you're having a self-managing company, which I think is every entrepreneur's ideal, right? Is to work at the 10,000 foot level. Like, takes us years to get there, of course, as we all know. Then, the things that we don't do well, the things that are outside of our unique ability, there's three things we have to do. We have to delegate, eliminate, or automate. Those are the three choices.
Say that again.
Delegate, eliminate, or automate. The things that are not in our working genius, as we call it. Those are the three choices that you have. And we can't say we wonder why that culture is not great inside of organizations and not spend time with our people.
So we're going to take a quick break. Sure. I got to do this thing, and then we'll come back and talk some more about this. Fire it up, JoJo.
This is Josh Johnson trading in my fire hose for a different kind of smoke. Burner Cigar is where I relax, and you can too. Say goodbye to stress and hello to smoky dreams, because life's too short not to savor it.
I can't believe Josh said smoky dreams. That's pretty funny. If you cannot see this on the live radio, I am holding up a sign that says, "This cigar is on Joe." Go buy Burner Cigar in Birkdale Village or Highway 16 in Denver. If you hold up one of these signs and click and put it on social media, your cigar is on me. Go buy Burner Cigar. They're just an exceptional group of people. There's probably more fun, entertainment, and business done in a cigar shop than on any golf course in the state. I can assure you of that. I tell people a cigar is like this equalizer. Doesn't really matter who you are, what you do, where you've been. You light up a cigar and you can sit and talk to somebody for 45 minutes and they become your friend at the end of this. Again, go to Burner Cigar, tell them Joe sent you, and your first cigar is on me. Thank you very much. Thanks, JoJo. So let's get back to what we were doing. Michael Clegg, he has given me permission to call him Clegg.
Yep.
Coach Clegg, CEO, managing partner of Q Works Group. Also, he has a leadership coaching program that he calls Leadership Square. So, Austin, Julie has put on Facebook exactly what Austin was talking about: delegate, eliminate, or automate. What's your thought on that? Do you accept those? Is that something you've heard before?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how we've been able to function and grow. I've got very, very, very structured people below me. We have a CPA, and we have a guy who loves level 10 meetings, which are the
EOS.
They help you have all the structured meetings.
Also, hire some of those people that like that structure.
Yeah. So my type of meetings are in the car, and they're 5-minute calls. And people know if they want to call me and they want to talk to me, I am always available. Yep. But level 10 for an hour and a half, because they're 90 minutes. And
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but they're very good and structured.
So let me ask the professional here. Is he okay with that he has delegated somebody else to have that conversation with them?
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's outside of your working genius, you're not going to be good at it anyways.
Oh.
That doesn't mean that he's not good at it. It just means that
no, I'm not good at it.
You have to understand, like, I am a visionary. I've never seen a bad idea, right? So I also am the guy that loves starting projects but doesn't like ending projects. So if I don't put structure in place, I'm dead. I mean, I tell the story all the time about my wife and I first bought our home in 2001. And, I wake up on a Saturday morning, I'm fired up to go to Home Depot. I get the roller, the sprayer, staining. You got to understand, this backyard, like I'm 3 strips and it was done. So it was really small home. So I go and I work all day, stay in the fence, gets dark, clean up, put everything away. 3 years later, my wife comes in. She goes, "Hey, Clegg, do you know you never finished the other side of the fence?" If I don't put structure in my life, everything will be that fence.
Right.
And so I know the things that I'm good at and the things that I'm not good at. But that's where self-awareness comes in.
Yeah, but here's my question to you.
Sure.
He said the accountant talks to the accountant people and the operations person talks to operations. But who talks to that key person? So he still can just have a phone call with that person and it's okay?
Yeah.
Am I asking that question
Yeah,
right?
no, I think
That was kind of a sloppy question.
No, I
wasn't
think
it?
I understand where you're going. So and I think before we went to commercial before, I was talking
I'm trying
about
to get him
the
to work a
structure.
little bit here.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I had mentioned in the one-on-ones, it's really, you follow a method that I call 60-30-10, right? 60% is about the production. It's about the KPIs or OKRs, whatever is inside of your organization. You got to talk about the business because you have to understand how well you're doing, right? 30% is about career development. You need to talk to your people about where they want to go. Most people have some level of ambition. If you're not talking about career progression, your competitor is going to talk to them about it, right? So I see it as my job is to keep people. I don't mind my team talking to recruiters. It's my job to keep them in the organization.
Right.
And then that last 10%, it's the casual, maybe it's the 5-minute conversation. You're heading home, you pick up the phone, you call your direct reports, whatever it may be. But it really does neutralize the relationship, and that's where you want to go because it's got to be a relationship. Or, especially with the millennials and Gen Z, the data is overwhelming. They're less than 3 years in a job.
Right. So, did you want to add anything to that? You good with
No,
that?
I just think I would add is like consistency for me. It's like
Absolutely.
it's key. It's like when you have these folks that are more integrators, it's the opposite of a visionary. They are very, very consistent. Where
Absolutely.
visionaries are not consistent.
over the
Right.
place.
And so
Right.
like
That's
for
our
me,
problem,
it's my
right?
every day I have to tell myself
That's
it's
right.
like in order for me to get a pulse of my business, you got to talk to the people.
Right.
And you got to see what they're thinking and what they're talking about. Even if it's about their dog for 2 hours,
Yep.
like you got to learn about Johnny the dog. I mean,
Yep,
but
that's
like
right.
you really need to know the people
You do.
and level playing the field.
Well,
But-
it's part of Austin reminds me of me. You know what I mean?
Were you that good when you were younger?
I was going to say. I want to be careful, right? Not to put myself in
He's
the
pretty-
level
he's
of
pretty
a
sharp.
Griffin chosen entrepreneur. But I literally started with a single sandwich shop inside of an office building and grew it to the largest closed market environment restaurant concept in the Southeast. And I tell people, number one, don't be impressed. They were just 1-2-man sandwich shops, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I enjoyed, opening up the next sandwich shop.
That's right.
Not creating the best sandwich shop that I could, right?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
totally get
And
it.
Austin reminds me of that he enjoys setting up new cities and that sort of thing. So that is a completely different skill set
Absolutely.
than operating those restaurants on a
But you
day-to-day
knew what
basis.
you were good at. And that's the difference where most people don't take the time and the space to identify what they're really good at.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing is there's no such thing as work-life balance. You wrote a article on this on your website, but before we talk about that, because Austin and I touched on that earlier today, tell people how they can reach you if they want to talk to you about some leadership skills.
Yeah, I think the best way to reach me is probably through LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn or via email at mclegg, which is MCLEGG at qworksgroup.com. Either one of those is fine. Those are likely the best 2 ways.
And so now talk about this no such thing as work-life balance. Talk a little bit about that. I'd like to get your thoughts on that because you kind of heard our thoughts at the beginning of the show.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the story you were telling me. I believe it was about your son and his fiance.
Yep.
They are building some roots in Winston-Salem, yet they're going to go live in multiple cities.
They have this modern day intentional thought of, in their case,
Yeah.
going to different cities for 30 days at a time.
But they have the ability to do that because they are both remote workers.
That's correct.
And we have to understand where technology is today, right? And as long as we have our cell phones, we're never away from work. I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't think it's a true thing. I don't think it exists, especially for entrepreneurs. That's really tough. I do believe in work-life integration because you have to figure out how to integrate the personal with the professional. And I haven't always done that. And I'm 50 years old. I'm still working on that.
So I want to get Austin's opinion on that, see if he agrees with that. But I just want to let you know, the reason why I've been doing this radio show for 11 years is because the owner likes for people to disagree with me. So it's okay to disagree with me.
No,
He calls it good radio. so Austin, do you accept what he's saying is that it is all one and there is no separation between work? Because you're in a little bit different situation than say I didn't have a partner.
I would say for people who are like the most successful people, I would say there is no work-life balance. But there are the 8-to-5ers that work, and they say that whole thing like, slams laptop shut. That's very much a thing. And I think there is work-life balance with those folks, but they probably could be reaching crazy heights if they would work it into their life.
So I'm sorry, guys. We got to do this again. Mike Clegg is here. He is CEO, managing partner of Q Works Group. Mike, how can they reach you again?
Yeah, mclegg@qworksgroup.com or on LinkedIn. Just look up Michael B. Clegg.
And Austin Helms is here, and this is Local Biz Now. If it's Monday afternoon, say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah! We'll be right back. JoJo is next with sports.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville.